Hello again. After Magnus Carlsen had won the candidates tournament and had gotten the right to challenge world champion Vishy for a match, there was some time between the candidates tournament and the world championship match. So the world championship, the candidates tournaments finished in 1st of April, and the World Championship match is starting in November. So there is like maybe 6 months or something like that. And the question is like how should you prepare for the match, because of the huge prize money in the World Championship matches. I read that there was total prize money was like 3 million euros for this match, and so that's definitely more prize money than all the other tournaments that Magnus can play like between World Championship matches. It makes a lot of sense, both monetarily, but especially when it comes to the prestige. The prestige of the World Championships title in chess is enormous. It's the by far most prestigious thing that you can do, and all the chess kids in the chess lectures all around the world, we can say so. Lasker was the first, and then it was every school kid can say like who are the world champions through time, but we don't know who won the tournament. Like, for example, the next tournament Magnus playing that we're going to cover now is the tournament Norway Chess 2013. Like, in 100 years no one will remember this tournament, but Magnus will be included in the very prestigious line of world champions, starting maybe from Lasker, and then Kappa, Blanca, and then Oive, and then Alekine, Butvinnik, Smyslov, Tal, Petrosyan, Spassky, Fischer, Karpov, Kasparov, Kramnik, Anand, and now Carlsen. So everyone can know those players, and they will be remembered for all eternity. But the regular tournaments or so, it will be forgotten over time. So that's why the best chess players that has a chance to become world champion, it should be the main focus of their career. And then of course the question comes, what is the optimal way to prepare for a chess tournament? Butvinnik, he almost didn't play. He didn't play much open tournaments between his world championship matches. He played a lot of them because first he lost the world championship title, and then he regained it and lost it and regained it, and so he played a lot of world championship matches, and for him it worked to play like only training games with friends, to have secret opening preparation and to not show his opening preparation to the world. But nowadays it feels a little bit more like players are playing a lot of tournaments to keep up tactics, but of course you can keep your brain fit with tactics by doing exercises and so on. So it's not completely needed to play games, but like one example is the last World Championship match between world champion Ding Liren and Jon Nepomniachtchi. And Jon Nepomniachtchi, he played a lot of tournaments, but Ding Liren almost played no tournaments. And Liren, of course, won that match very easily. But I don't think it. I think it more had to do with that Jon is too. He's performing much worse in the World Championship matches, both this time and also against Magnus. He's just being very nonchalant in his calculation and missing easy tactics in the World Championship matches. So for Dingliren, it worked to not play so much, and now he's barely played anything between when he got world champion and now. In a few months he will play Gukesh, and I plan also to do a short video series about them so people can learn a little bit more about those two players before the world championship match, which is a match that I'm looking very much forward to. I watched Gukesh play live one time, and it's just a fascinating individual to watch. He has this superhuman focus with his eyes. It's just like it's only chess. Like it's just you can like see when you look at him that it's only chess. Like he's just not thinking anything else. And because he has the correct mentality, I think he will defeat Dingliren, because he has the right mindset to focus only on chess, which Nepomniachtchi lacked. But enough of that. We're not here to talk about the current World Championship match. Instead, we're talking about the road for Magnus to get to his World Championship match against Vishy Anand. And key here is that Magnus is from Norway, and Norway, Sweden, and Denmark, it's the same culture group. If I'm from Sweden, and basically Sweden, Norway, and Denmark, we are the same culture group. Our language is extremely similar, especially Norwegian and Swedish. It's a similar, and like English and Scottish, for example, it's very, very similar. Danish is a little bit more different, but it's still very closely connected. And because of that, a very important thing here was that Peter Nielsen, the Danish Grandmaster, he had been the main second of Vishy Anand for all his latest World Championship matches. When he, for example, when he won the title against Kramnik, and when he defended it against Gelfanden, and so on. But for this one, Carlsen had approached Peter Nielsen, who agreed to not help Anand in this match and basically sit on the side. So he decided, and I think partly because he's the same culture group, it makes a lot of sense for him to not work against the first Scandinavian world champion. So it made a lot of sense for him to not help Anand, which of course was a big pity for Anand because he lost his best second. So Peter Nielsen did not help Anand and did not help Carlsen here. And in the future of the Carlsen, because he won against Anand, then for the next matches, Nielsen is he's helping Carlsen basically. So because of that, they have like different seconds and trainers here. So let me read here from the wiki who was their second. So Anand seconds were Ganguly, a 2600 Grandmaster from India, and Wojtacek, a 2600, or maybe 2700 now from Poland. And they also had helped him in his previous 4 World Championship matches. And here his primary second, Peter Nielsen, was hired by Carlsen under agreement that he would not help in this match. During the press conference, Anand revealed that he also got help from Sasi Kiran, an Indian Grandmaster, Chanda, who I don't know really, but it's apparently also an Indian Grandmaster, and Peter Leku, who lost a World Championship match against Vladimir Kramnik before Anand got World Champion. And Carlsen got help from Jon Hammer, a Norwegian Grandmaster, and also Jan Nepomniachtchi. Interestingly, it's not sure, but it says supposed here, because Nepomniachtchi is his big rival from his youth days, same age, and they were battling for all the Youth World Championship titles. And of course, Nepomniachtchi will be maybe one of the best players, both now and for a long time to come. And he has gotten a few World Championship matches because he used to win the candidates tournaments, but then he used to fail in the World Championship matches. And also Laurent Fressinet, who was helping, he was a previous second of Kramnik, but apparently he's helping Carlsen also. And Fressinet and also Jan Gustafsson, maybe Fressinet brought in Jan Gustafsson, a German Grandmaster, to help Carlsen in his later matches. And it also seemed like Pavel Elyanov, a Ukrainian Grandmaster that I've played against actually in a classical game, he also helped Carlsen. So the match here took place in this fancy hotel here in India, in Chennai, from 7th to 25th November. And it was 12-game match. So my point is like, how should you prepare? Should you focus opening studies, prepare alone, or should you play a lot of tournaments? And what Magnus decided to do, which definitely is the right thing for such a young player, he's 24 now I think, but he's still quite young, is to play a lot of tournaments because you basically, it's when you do chess training at home, you want the chess training to be as close to a real game. So for example, when you do combination or endgame exercises, studies and so on, the correct way is not used to do it in front of the computer. The correct way is to take a chessboard, put up the position, like start the clock. Maybe you have like 3 minutes here to spend on this combination, and use all available time and the as focused as you can on those 3 minutes. You cannot do anything, not look at your phone, not watch what's happening on Facebook or whatever. Just 100% focus on the exercises to mimic the match situation. And that is of utmost importance, because at the chessboard you want to be able to summon that focus to solve the problems, because chess is a battle of human minds, and the player, we are all humans, all our brains are a bit different. Some people are more talented than others at chess, but it's possible for everyone to work hard and reprogram your brain to make it focus good at chess. And because of that, it's hard to get as good training when you train at home as you do when you play a real tournament game, because it's hard to get that to mimic that tournament situation. So because of that, I think Magnus did the right thing to play a lot of tournaments. He played 3 tournaments that I will cover now before the World Championship match, and so that was his strategy here. So and the disadvantage of this is that you show what openings you play here. Of course your opponent will be analyzing your game and like study, so you play this opening, then I should study and play against that one. So the disadvantage to play a lot before the match is obviously that you will have to play your best openings, because they're like it's tournaments, games you're playing basically. So the first tournament of these 3 tournaments is here against in Norway Chess in Sandnes in 13th of May, and I've only chosen one game from this tournament. It's the game against Sergey Karjakin, and let's see if I find it here. And Karjakin also actually won the tournament. Magnus and Hikaru finished second, and Hammer was struggling, but the others did relatively okay. Maybe Radjabov was also not happy with his performance, being 4th rated player in the world at this time. And I only chosen one game because I thought many of the games were not so very interesting actually. But I found one game here against Sergey Karjakin, and as if you watched all my videos, you know that I like games where Karjakin loses basically because he's a part of the Duma and he is a big advocate and like a poster boy for the Russian special military operation against Ukraine. And remember that he's Ukrainian, is born against Ukraine's to betray your own people like that is then we want of course to see games where he loses basically. So let's see here how this game develops. Karjakin plays 1e4 and e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, a6, and they are heading towards the marshal here. So if Carlsen would have played castle and Karjakin played this one, then this one is the infamous Marshall Gambit in the Spanish. It's very very heavily analyzed, and it's supposed to be, if black all knows the theory, it's supposed to be nothing for white. So it's supposed to be fine for black. Like it's if black knows all the theory, he can equalize here. So many players avoid this for some reason, but Magnus in this game is not interested in playing that. Instead in playing d6, and that signals that basically he won't play the marshal. He will play something else here. So here of course this is the main position of the old Spanish, and here of course there is many different variation. There is the Shigarin, knight a5, c5, Zaitsev is rook f8, Smyslov is h6 I think. So there is so many variations here, but Magnus chooses the most solid one, which is known as the Breyer, and it's a little bit interesting. He's wasting 2 tempos like that, and Magnus often has played the opening, because black setup, it looks a lot like the setup from with which we have seen Magnus play a few times from the Philidor defense. And now black plays bishop here. Like let's do some moves here. Like black setup is exactly like this, but he didn't waste this time. So we have seen a few games where Magnus plays this setup and he had good results. So Breyer is used to play like that setup with some tempos down, but still it's not so easy for white to do anything, because this is just a good setup. And I've talked before about setup, like this is kind of a setup for black. The bishop goes here and then c6 and queen c7, and then black waits basically. You have the perfect setup for defensive play, and it's very hard for white to do anything. But not all players like setup openings like the hedgehog or the Philidor defense or whatever. So let's see how the game develops. So white does this because he wants to do this Spanish knight maneuver. Sorry. He wants to go here and here. That's normal Spanish knight maneuver to sometimes go to f5. And black counters that by doing this, so maybe he can do g6 and here. Okay, now he has to do c6 to defend b4, 5. And he does b4 here. I don't know the theory, but this is not the most critical setup. This is quite a passive setup for white. He's playing about like how black does. There are some lines where white tries to play for f4 and stuff and do a little bit more aggressive stuff against the Breyer. So this is the computer still likes white a little bit, but this, to me, it looks like white is not very ambitious here. But as you can see, the computer likes white. I think white has an advantage here. Like is a clear advantage here. Little bit hard to understand why. But I guess it must be that this one is a little bit weak. Maybe he can do some pressure here. Yeah, he won that e5 pawns. It was this one that was a weakness now, the way black regrouped here. So Karjakin, he won the tournament and he's good form and he's up a pawn here, and it's looking a lot like he might win this game also. But of course there is so many pieces here, so it's hard to... There is always fighting chances when there are a lot of pieces on the board. So here white does his first inaccuracy. Black is threatening here and he defends, and that loses apparently all his advantage. Instead he should have gone here to win this pawn. So let's see, why can't he take here? You can't take because of this, and then take, and I don't know, let's see. I can take this pawn, yeah. So can't take with this one, and then I guess maybe something like this. Yeah. Okay, so that doesn't really work. I see, so you can't do that one because, as you saw, queen b8, and this one is also being threatened. So then if he does the same, then you should take here. Okay, and then he can take here, maybe. Take. I see, he wins this bishop now. No? He doesn't win it because of this. Okay, so this is a little bit weird that this is good for white because it's even material. White has rook and pawn for two pieces, but apparently it's because this one is quite strong, I guess. I guess it's hard because this bishop is just... It's hard to stop this pawn. Okay, this pawn is very strong, can't be stopped apparently. That's not so easy to calculate all this stuff, but... So instead Karjakin played bishop c2 here. Okay, so position is equal now. The thing is that when this knight moves, then e4 can hang, so it's not so easy for white to do so much because of this construction here. And here apparently white makes a big mistake, and it's... Even I can see that it's a bad move. He does the king here, but the thing is that black has two pieces pointing towards the king, so that's definitely the wrong... But it would have been better even to put the king here if you want to move the king to avoid a check. But yeah, also this one can come down. And it seems like here and maybe take here and then take here to win back a pawn is the thing. So that explains he make this one because he wants to play g3 here to support this construction here, but as we shall see, it's not working so good because of this tactical shot. Let's look at that. Wait a bit, it looks like... I have to analyze this. Looks like this is not working for black. Let's see here. Okay, it's because black has such... Not that one. This one. Black has such a powerful bishop and queens here. Have you seen... There is like... There is an old game between, it's over 100 years ago, between Rotlevi and Rubinstein, and Rubinstein also get these kind of bishops, like winning with two bishops like that. This position reminds me a little bit about that. Rotlevi against Rubinstein. So he sees, Karjakin realizes that he can't take back because the bishops are too strong, so he sacks his rook to get rid of one bishop, and now black cannot take the rook because then the knight would take care and white would get knight and bishop for a rook and would be winning, so black has to take like that. But black has won back the pawn that white was ahead, so it's an even material position now. But this one is still a little bit weak, and this pawn is a little bit more dangerous than that one, and also the white king is weak. So black has a good position here. And f5 is good, he can't take because of the pin on the rook. And here Magnus does a very impressive a very impressive tactic here. Let's just see what about this move first. Okay, then he does like that and defend. So if he takes first and then take, and here, why does this one work then? Why can't he take here? I see, it's over. Now black can take here, and white can't take back because it's mate here or here. You see, take with the rook, mate here, take with the queen, mate here. I see, so that's why he has to take with the knight first, because if he does this one, then of course white takes here instead. And he's winning. So that was very, Magnus saw that, must have seen that already when he played f5, that this combination works. Okay, so here white makes a blunder. Only way to continue the game was this move, which is a little bit weird, but it's because he wants to block this diagonal here, and then he blocks it again, so this bishop is not it can't do anything here. So in this position we see it's 1.4, well, black is one pawn up, and apparently has some no, he has to defend here. He apparently here white could continue to fight. It's opposite colored bishop, so if something gets traded, then good chances for a draw for white basically. But yeah, this pawn could be quite annoying. Sometimes rook here and maybe queen here to attack here and force a trade, and maybe the pawn can advance because of that. But this was, so it was a little bit it might have been a time trouble for white here, because Karjakin is known, Seiravan calls him the minister of defense, because yeah, he's getting involved in the war, and he's also good defensive player. So it's uncharacteristically, because he used to defend very, very accurately when he is under attack, and he's might be one of the best players in the world to defend accurately. But here he makes a tactical blunder. So let's see why that is a blunder. Yeah, he can't move the bishop now. If he moves the bishop, then knight rook here is mating. So he took here, black takes here, and I guess bishop g4 is the only way, because he needs to stop. No, I don't know why that's the best. What about here? Okay, so he goes here and tries to win like this now, and it cannot be stopped. I see. So it's this one that's the problem. So he has to do bishop g4. Yeah, it's still when just looking at this position, it looks quite even, but it's apparently tactically winning for black in a number of ways. So let's see what happens. c3. He can't take it, I guess, because why? What happens if it takes? No, it's check here, and it's mate, or at least losing the bishop. Even losing the rook, actually. I see. So he has to move the queen. And then black does this. Also a nice move. White can't take because queen f2 check, of course. So now he walks into checkmate, but it's lost anyway. Only move for white was this one, but it loses a piece for nothing, basically. Black is a piece up and is attacking and has a winning pawn, so it's just lost anyway. And this is apparently very strong because of this pin here. Yeah, he can't really do anything against it, because for this one he goes here and it's this one. And of course bishop, he can't do that because it used to take it, because it's still pin here. Very nice game by Magnus. Let's look here. This is the one. Norway Chess Tournament. Karjakin managed to win anyway because of 5 wins, so that's a very good result for him, of course. He must have won against a lot of the weaker players here. Also good score for Magnus, 7 plus 2, 5.5 out of 9 is also good score for him here. And of course it's nice that Norway, I think this might be the first time Norway has arranged this is called super tournaments, where there is only 2,700 players except of a local player like Hammer, who is not 2,700, of course. So it's nice that Norway got this sponsorship and this nice tournament. And of course, yeah, Norway should do that because, as you might know, per capita, Norway is one of the richest country in the world, because they have a lot of oil in the North Sea outside of their coast. So they are a very, very rich country, like the Arabian oil countries. So they should be able to afford to host at least one quality chess tournament like this each year. So okay, so next time we will look at a favorite of mine, Carlsen against Kramnik in the Tall Memorial. So see you then.